Let glory shine. From the ashes I rise. Every scar a story, every tear baptized. This is my freedom. This is my climb. Let glory shine. It's the power inside.
Welcome back to Let Glory Shine. I'm your host, Martha Glory, and I'm so excited to be here for yet another episode of Let Glory Shine. Today, as always, I have a special guest. Her name is Val Walker, and we crossed paths because of somebody else that was on my show, Dave Roberts, who is an incredible human. And I'm so excited every time that the universe, God, whatever you want to say, sees fit to cross somebody else into my world because of our experiences. And so, Val, I'm excited to get to have this conversation with her. She's going to be talking to us today about awe and wonder, and I can't wait to get into her story. So, welcome, Val.
Thank you. So good to be here.
Yes. So, I want you to introduce yourself. I want you to tell us a little bit about you.
Well, I am a blogger for Psychology Today for the past 6 years. I'm the author of 3 books and very happy to say my first book about how to be comforting for people going through loss or distress is called The Art of Comforting, and I have my little Hall of Fame shelf here with the cherry blossoms on it. That's my first book, baby. I really found that book won awards, and I'm just so pleased. And it's a guide to what to say, what to do when people are in distress, and how to listen better, and how to be more present to people, how to hold space. And it was written in 2009, 2010. It came out in 2010 with Penguin Random House. So it's been around, it's still going. So, next, my second book is called 400 Friends and No One to Call. And that is a book about dealing with loneliness, especially breaking out of isolation and building community. And I really discuss what community means and how a lot of times we need community just to be part of something through volunteering or something before we can build new friendships. You don't just walk out and build a friendship. It usually comes through a shared activity, and we need community to share. So I wrote this whole book about that, 400 Friends and No One to Call, and I'm pleased to say, even during the pandemic, people found some of it helpful. Uh, During lockdown, I mean, interesting for a book to come out about how to get out and meet people when it was an interesting straddle, but a lot of people got the basic message about just being proactive and not looking at not having friends or support as some kind of judgment on you. It happens in our society. It's not your fault. So that was one of the biggest messages I got out there. So that was 400 Friends. And finally, I hope we'll spend a lot of time talking about my latest book, which is called Healing Through Wonder: How All Restores Us After Trauma and Loss. And what it is I realized through my personal journey that my sense of wonder had been like a secret power and a hidden, very underappreciated power of mine, a strength of mine, was that I could look up and my whole day could change because a red heron or a blue, excuse me, a blue heron or a red cardinal or maybe some kind of wondrous experience happened, and it would shift me out of my rumination, traumatic memories, grief and loss, feelings. And what Awe and Wonder did, which I noticed through the last several decades, was that it always was something I could count on, that sense of wonder inside of me, that I had this ability to see the beauty and stop and notice things, and I allowed it to uh, transform me a little bit. I allowed these experiences to make me feel wondrous, make me feel reverent, or see miracles, or um, just to be amazed. I realize being amazed is a really beautiful gift that makes us resilient. And it can be with people, it can be with nature. You can be amazed by an incredible piece of music that gives you chills. You can be amazed by actually seven or eight whole different categories of wonder. So, long story made short with this book, I wanted to capture my experiences, especially with great blue herons, my
Mhm.
experiences with birds. So the first third of the book is how my experiences with birds helped me heal from domestic violence back in my early 20s. Indeed, I was suicidal, and I was about to swallow my Valium that I had in a little jar, and I had run all away. I was homeless at the time. This is in the late 1970s. I'm a boomer. I'm old. So this was back when there were no domestic violence shelters for women in Richmond, Virginia, where I was living at the time. They didn't open until after what happened to me. So I'm running, I'm homeless, I'm trying to escape this very dangerous man. I was not being very supported by the people in my network because people didn't understand domestic violence too well. So I was really, I'm getting into my story, but long story, I I was so ready to give up. And at the same time, in that same 2 weeks when I was running and homeless from this person, my dearest person in my life, my grandmother, because I didn't have close relationships with anybody else in my family. The only person I really loved and trusted was my grandmother, Viv, and she died of a heart attack during the time I was running from this perpetrator and homeless. So I really was ready to end it all. I started swallowing a bottle of Valium sitting by the James River on a September evening, and the sun was getting really low. It was going into twilight. It was a very beautiful sky, but I was caught up in my own little death wish to get it done. And this amazing experience happened. A great blue heron circled above me and landed about 10 feet away from me and stared at me. And the power of that bird staring at me stopped me. And I just couldn't finish swallowing the pills. I just got into an eye to eye, soul to soul. It felt like soul to soul connection. It was so powerful. It shifted everything in my mind about ending my life. And I realized there's so much more to this world. It's not just about me and my drama as a human. Here's this whole world. It's like the heron opened me up to this wonder and awe. And I realized, my God, I really don't want to die. So I took the pills, threw them into the river. I got on my knees. I did pray. I'm just was so grateful to the heron. And I just said, I want to live. And I looked up and I talked to my grandmother in spirit. I said, Viv, I don't know what you may or may not have had anything to do with this heron, but the heron came and it gave me everything I needed to go on. And ever since, for years after that, I went to places where blue herons like to go. All these watery, marshy, rivery, sometimes ocean bays. When I went to these watery places and hung around with these watery birds, egrets, herons, ducks, geese, I was in my element. And all of that helped me hear my inner voice, my real self, the real Val, the not, you know, the Val who was hurt, but who was so willing to want to be here and embrace life. So I wrote all about those experiences in the first third of my book, but I also have four other people, Martha, that I profile who are also trauma and grief survivors, even a person who was dealing with addiction, and how her moments of wonder, how their moments kept coming back to them to keep them from going down more destructive paths. And these moments of awe and wonder we captured in my book. And there are also some of them on my YouTube channel sharing wonder stories. So thank you for hearing such a, I didn't really mean just to do an introduction for myself. I got right into the
Yeah.
inspiration for this book. But finally, it's really important you need to know the whole third of my book is also I discovered neuroscience explaining what awe and wonder does to our brains, how it shifts our perception of the world and ourselves. And the neuroscience was so fascinating. I was in awe of that. So I blended neuroscience, my stories with the herons, and other people's stories. And I hope I cooked up a pretty good read.
Wow. Val, I have so many things that I want to focus on because you
Oh,
said so many amazing things. And so I want to
you
go
can
back.
unpack that for the.
Right. I have a lot to unpack in the next 23 minutes, but
Okay.
I want to start with the going all the way back to you were talking your way through the different books that you've done. And wow, first of all. And second of all, the one that touched me the deepest, of course, is your latest work because I'm a trauma survivor, because I have had those moments of having to choose life, having to
Yes.
choose life over the pain that I was feeling so deeply in my spirit, in my heart, in my physical, right? And having to choose life.
Yeah.
And as soon as you said the blue heron, I had never connected those two things. But growing up on the compound, so I survived a religious cult, and
Yeah.
growing up on the compound, there was a pond, and blue herons and sandhill cranes would gather there.
Oh, wow.
And I remember sitting on the banks of that pond, watching those magnificent birds for hours. It was like a refuge, right?
Yes.
And so when
Yes.
you were,
It
I
was.
felt that so deeply of like, that was a moment in time that I could feel and capture, right? Of this innocence, of just being there and being safe in that moment, right? There was so many unsafe moments, but
Yeah.
sitting and watching those blue herons and those sandhill cranes, and they would dive for fish, and
Yeah.
then they would come back at like I had it took me to that place. So
I am so honored and touched that you had a similar experience that the
yeah,
herons were inspiration for you.
yeah.
Did they teach you? Because I wrote a lot about what they actually taught me, watching them,
So I
their
never put it
partners, and
together until you just shared. I never put that together until you just shared. And so now my like right now I just feel the awe of it, right?
yes.
Because when I was in that, it was definitely an escape, to be able to get out to the pond and to be able to sit and watch them. It was definitely an
Right.
escape from what was going on in my real life, but I never connected those two until you just shared. So thank you for that. I'm going to dive deeper into that in my own time and see kind of what that message was because God has a way of showing up
Mhm.
in so many different ways in that create that idea of awe and wonder, right? Those signs. You were talked about the cardinals, you talked about the herons, you talked for me, it's there's been signs my whole life of reminding me that I was never
Right.
alone.
But bottom line is, I don't beg to differ, but it's not an escape. It actually helps us become more able and agile with our emotions,
Mm,
that we can feel the awe of a blue heron or a cardinal or a piece of music and still have feelings of
mm,
sadness, loss, anger, trauma. What I try to show in the book that these experiences of awe and wonder are not escapes from our pain or
mm,
grief. They
mm.
actually show us how to live with it, how to
Wow.
allow it, and that we can have so many feelings in one experience.
Yeah.
And all gives us the ability to open up and hold all the tension and the opposites of all those conflicting feelings. All teaches us how to be agile with our emotions.
Yeah, when you say that, what I think about is so often. Val, we speed through life on autopilot.
Yes,
And
caught
there's
up in our
those,
brain.
yes, and we spend all the time up here and not here, right? So the ability to recognize awe and wonder is being able to drop from here to here
Hmm.
and being able to be present for the moment, right?
It
Because
does that naturally.
yes, 100%,
Yeah,
100%. But we have to have the ability to recognize it and slow down enough to appreciate it. And
yeah,
so often we go through life on autopilot. And so the last few years for me has really been about how do I intentionally slow down enough that I don't miss the moment. And you can see way more when you slow down enough to appreciate the moment. And what this is what you're describing, right? Because for
absolutely.
me, the blue heron in that time of my life was an escape. I didn't have the tools to appreciate
At that
what
time, it
at
was.
that time. Now I
Yeah.
could, right? Looking
Now, right.
back.
But a
Like,
lot was going on. It
yes,
felt like an escape, but a lot was building inside of you to prepare you for
yes,
the next,
yes.
for your ability to grow and change.
1,000,000%.
But
Yeah.
I know it felt like an escape. And when I first had the heroin experiences that saved my life when I was 23, 24 years old, it felt like an escape to me at the time too. So I am saying that. Then I realized later, oh my God, it saved my life.
Right, right. When
You
you
know, my state
described
of mind, I was going to lose it. I was trying to end my life.
Yes. When you described awe and wonder as an underappreciated superpower,
Hmm.
that really hit for me.
Right.
Because it really is, right? And for me, that's the moment. That's the present, the be here now moment, like right
Yeah.
now, right? That's the underappreciated superpower. But we're talking about the exact same thing because when
Yeah.
we can appreciate this moment and when we can be here in the present, our mind is open to all the other things that come with that, which is awe and wonder.
Yeah. And it can be just a brief experience that
Yes.
lasts 1 minute, but it'll shift your whole attitude for the rest of the day. Your whole mind opens up. I want to put some neuroscience out there that it's called when we're caught up in our thoughts like that, often worrying or, thinking what's going to happen next, like what you're talking about in your head. Well, there's what's called the default mode network. That's the part of our brain that's caught up in those thoughts. A moment of awe deactivates that default mode network. The neuroscience shows it shifts us out of that. Our whole brain
Yep.
changes.
Yep. I love neuroscience and I could geek out with you for another hour on the
I know.
neurosciences
It's just so
because
validating.
yes, because I've done a lot of that same research, but I've done it around chronic pain and trauma,
Oh,
which is but the shifts of the brain and the shifts of the nervous system and the release of the dopamine and like
yeah.
all of like
Vagus
it's
nerve. And,
fascinating and
yep.
we could literally go down that neuroscience rabbit hole and it
But I
would
just
be
want to give cheers. Get out of that default mode. Whoa.
exactly shift. And that's the other thing, Val, is that we think that that is a difficult shift, and it's
Yes.
not. You can do it through breath work. You can do it through recognizing in that moment of bringing yourself from here to here. Like the
Yeah.
shifts happen so quickly, and then we rewire the brain to understand the possibilities, right? And so,
Right.
yeah, so many people think it's so hard. I can never.
No, it
No,
might be something
that's
beautiful that takes your breath away, that makes you
yes,
stop and go, wow,
yes,
that's it.
yes, yes. Um, the other thing that I don't want to miss is the miracles, right? Miracles are real. Miracles happen. Those are the moments that I have in my own life, and it sounds like you have in yours that changed everything for us. But so often when we're stuck up here again, we can miss that
That's
if
right.
we don't recognize it for what it is, right? And
That's
we're
right.
stuck on autopilot or we're stuck in fight or flight or we're stuck in whatever it is. So I want you to take the last 15 minutes or so and I want you to talk about your newest baby and why this is like the miracle of the now, right? Why is now the right time to talk about healing through wonder?
Well, especially, let's just look at the collective and the world around us now and all the tensions and all the intensity.
Yes.
And I'm not judging it. I'm just saying
Yeah.
it's really, really hard to
Curiosity. Yep.
live and
Yeah.
be focused on anything. We're constantly updating ourselves. Breaking news, breaking news. What happened? What happened? We're more pumped up to stay on our devices. And I don't want to get preachy here, but my goodness, a moment that gets you looking up, that gets you outside touching grass or snow, that gets you out of your head, back in your body, saying, "Here, I'm in the world. Here." And look, when you have that ability to do that, in the spite of all the, you can call it negativity, all I'm saying is, awe and wonder help us be resilient to all of that destructive force around us
Mhm.
and all that it does to conjure up anxiety and worry in our brain, right? It's really hard keeping up with all these things going on in the world and right in our local communities. It is really hard. And I want people to know that even just 1 or 2 minutes of awe can help us not only get a break from all of that intensity, but it shows us we do have the power through our awe and wonder to own ourselves again, to hear ourselves think again, not through algorithms, but what's really going on when you step out and something beautiful takes your breath away. Let's go back to some red cardinals that might land you. People, I want to say, if you can have these moments, you're not letting all the terrible things in the world take you away from that. You're resisting. You're resisting the pressures of the world by saying, I'm going to stop and love this cardinal. I am going to stop and listen to this beautiful music. And it's like if you push forward to give yourself these moments of awe and wonder and nourish that, it's going to keep you more human, more kind, more courageous. It's going to bring out the best in yourself. So awe and wonder practices, very similar to maybe spiritual practices, build resilience and resistance to all the forces on you. And
Yes.
it's you. The thing is, you're not just Googling something to go, oh, I want to see what a blue heron or red cardinal means as a spiritual message for me. You can get all caught up in the head stuff around symbols. I really want to put that out there. So many of us get into intellectualizing and thinking too much about the awe moments. It's like, what does that mean? What does that mean? Okay. Yes, we can do that, but please don't get so caught up in it that you get up in your head thinking about the cardinal or taking pictures for Instagram about the cardinal, but you're not having the moment. That's where the power and the magic is just that moment where you're not trying to control it and do something with it. So I hope I didn't sound too preachy, but
No, I love it.
we need it. And Rachel Carson, the wonderful ecologist, she really said if we don't savor awe and wonder, we become destructive of ourselves and the planet. That awe and wonder keep us so human and so open.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I think about this from a child's point of view, right? When we are a child, everything is awe and wonder, right? We
That's
appreciate
right.
we appreciate as children, and I'm thinking about like when I watch my kids or my nieces and nephews, like I see everything is awe and wonder to them. But we lose that as life starts happening, as trauma starts happening. The same thing goes with our imagination, our ability to be creative, right? Those
Yeah.
things get changed as life starts happening to us. So, the intentionality behind bringing that back, right? Like, because
Hmm.
that in my healing journey, the same thing. I've had to reteach myself to
Right.
appreciate the moment and to be
Yeah.
able to see the signs and appreciate the awe and wonder, right? So, what can you share with somebody that's like, I don't even know where to start. There's nothing
Oh.
in my life that is worth awe and wonder.
Hmm.
What can you say to them, Val?
Oh, thank you for that. Well, Many of us find awe and wonder moments in nature, but we hardly even remember them. So, just as simple as taking short walks, but sit down with yourself and ask yourself when you last felt awe and wonder, even if it was only just brief, like just for maybe 1 minute. See, don't think it has to be a great, big, powerful experience. It can be these little things. So I also encourage, this is going to sound like work, it's not at all, but just record the little moments just through a little log or journal of little sparks of when you had little brief awe moments like, oh wow, a bird landed there. Oh wow, that song came on the radio. It just sort of lifted me up and it gave me chills. So like it's like a little chills log. Go back and think about the times you got a chill, even for 10 seconds. Write them down. Just go, yeah, that happened last year. Oh, yeah, when that song came on. Oh, when my friend told the story about the visitation from his deceased grandfather. When did you get chills? Or that feeling, that electric feeling, and go ahead. And if you can even claim those moments, even from 10 years ago, if you can claim those, you're well on your way. You're opening yourself back up because the beauty about awe and wonder moments, it's contagious and they last forever. You can get a chill from something that happened to you when you were 10 years old
Yeah,
just by telling the story to a friend near you and saying, you know what happened to me when I was 10? Believe me, they're going to get the chills. You're going to get the chills. It's contagious. And you can have an awe moment all over again just through sharing a story. So thank
right,
you for listening to that because I'm quite excited about how awe doesn't ever just disappear.
right, right. But it's the intentionality that allows it to keep creating
And sharing it with
and
people. Awe is
sharing it.
contagious. Somebody
Yeah,
tells you something. Do you know what happened to me last night? And
yeah,
ooh, Aurora Borealis was there, or oh my God, that supermoon just took my breath away. Even
yeah.
little things like that, it really makes a difference.
It does. And the problem I think in so much of our culture now is that we share the yuck so much more
Share
freely,
the yuck.
than we share
Yeah,
this, right?
yeah.
And for me, I've decided no, I don't talk the yuck. I will only share this because there's plenty of people sharing the yuck. I don't need to be one of them, right? And so for me, this is the kind of stuff that I want to share. This is the kind of
Mm.
stuff that I want to highlight because this is what I want to fill my circle with and my sphere with versus the yuck. But wow, Val, thank you so much for coming on my show. The time always goes so fast when you're so into sharing something that's so uplifting and amazing. And I know that we could spend a whole nother hour speaking on your experiences and of awe and wonder, but I always end my shows the same way, and that is asking, what does it mean for Val to let her glory shine?
And I answer that one.
Yes.
Uh, what really, really warms me up is just pausing to see how beautiful, however amazing each day is. So it's a combination of gratitude and awe, just saying, we made it to this day. Look at this day. I'm so glad. I feel that every morning. I just have a practice of awe and gratitude, and that always works for me.
Yeah. Wow. I love that. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for so much for sharing your heart. And we will put in the bio, your books, so that if anybody's interested to pick it up, they will get the link for that. I just want to say thank you again for being here. Thank you for watching another episode of Let Glory Shine. I look forward to seeing you next week at the same time, same station. Good night, y'all.
Let glory shine from the ashes I rise. Every scar a story, every tear baptized. This is my freedom, this is my climb. Let glory shine, it's the power inside. This is your prosperity era, where dreams align with grace, abundance flows like rivers. You've stepped into